Bang, bang.
What's good, everyone?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, welcome, everybody, one and all, to the Bodycast. Bang, bang, indeed. My name is Copacetic, and with me today,
Pathogenic.
And special guest, all the way from Scotland.
It's Acre. You probably don't know me, but that's fine.
Bro, get out of here.
I don't even know me some days.
Everybody knows you. Everybody knows Acre from the classic battle that will live on forever. Acre versus Copacetic. Smoked out battles. As long as that channel exists on YouTube. Okay. This is, of course, what everybody is calling the best podcast for the international culture of battle rap. You can find us on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and all the available podcast platforms in the links below. It's the only place for fans to go for battle rap news from around the globe. And I'm just seeing a comment here. Somebody has written that, this show is amazing. I love it. And it's the only show that has such an extensive and in-depth quality coverage of battle rap culture from every corner of the planet, with hosts who are both experienced and highly regarded battlers, and also very handsome and smart. And
shout out Copacetic's mum.
She's a very nice lady.
She's a big fan. Yeah, facts.
She leaves good comments.
And indeed, it is. What a great show we have for you today. It's going to be spectacular. We've got Acre in the house. We're going to be covering all things United Kingdom and the British Isles, that whole area. There's a lot to talk about, obviously. We've been taking a little breaks, so we have lots to talk about. And special guest Acre, so it's fantastic. It's going to be really maybe one of the best shows that we've ever done. So strap in. And it's good. It's good that we do the best show ever, because obviously, besides us being the best, the people who watch this show are the best battle rap fans, and they deserve to have the best show. They're the best fans.
Undeniably.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even elaborate on that if I tried. Just sums it up. I'd like to do this a lot.
Yes, you do. I've noticed that happens a lot.
I'm very Italian. What can I say? So if you wanted to really just dig in and really raise the level of your experience watching this show, then, man, there's only one thing you can do. It starts like this. You were looking for the coolest. See, that doesn't work at all. You were looking for the coolest of peers. Bong, bong, the coolest of peer. Now raise your glass. Join us all for the community cheers. And we cheers. Yeah, cheers. Amazing.
It was way better when we both did it together, man.
Yeah,
that was a terrible experiment, but we did it for science.
It's live and learn. And that's what it's about, this show. It's to get better until it's amazing, and then we all quit. Spectacular show today. Remember to click and like the subscribe button. Really like the subscribe button. I love the subscribe button, but definitely you can like it. And we're going to start the show in America, where you just cannot. We want to do a show all about the UK this week, but let's be real. There's a lot of stuff happening in the States. You've got the RBE event, which is, I think, next month. There's Summer Madness, which is next weekend, depending on where you are in the world. And obviously the fallout from the aftermath. None of those things have positive connotations.
No.
The subsequent happenings of the GTX event, which has been fascinating and riveting. But
been very battle rap. That's you got that right.
Yeah, it has been very battle rap, very WWF, very there's a whole lot of drama, which we're not super going to go into the drama. We don't care so much about that. But I mean, first things first, the announcements for Summer Madness that we finally got. And I think, Path, you predicted this. If we go back, we really got to fucking compile our predictions, because you said, this is sort of like the teaser, and more likely is what's happening for Summer Madness is that they're going to hit you with something that you weren't expecting.
The 1-2 punch.
Yeah. and that was a very wise and future seeing, your future altering time entity. So
Nostradamus is the word you're looking for, or the name
Facts.
you're looking for.
Thank you.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
doesn't spell out
Predictions.
fate. So how does that work, right? Yeah, so like let's talk Dizaster versus Real Sikh is announced and absolutely pushes the Summer Madness over the edge into, okay, we're gonna watch this shit. Am I wrong?
This is kind of, we were talking about Summer Madness 2 weeks ago, and we were like, yeah, it's a really great card, and it's got a couple of Summer Madness-esque matches on it, but I don't know if this really is what we would expect of a Summer Madness.
Seems a little short.
Just didn't hit the mark exactly.
Truncated.
And they were like, you know what? Let's hit the mark extremely hard with Diz versus Real Sikh, as well as Rum Nitty versus Ace Amin, which that's one of those ones that I think everybody knows is a Summer Madness matchup based on the promo that they've done and because of how, I guess, underrated Ace Amin has been in the last little bit. He's such a phenomenal battler and performer, and he just hasn't gotten his just dues when it comes to big events and big cards and big names. And so this is shaping up to be what I think URL was hoping Shotgun Shug and Fonz would be in the crowd's eyes, because everyone now is very excited for Nitty and Ace.
People were disappointed that it wasn't part of the original announcement, and that's kind of like plays to the strength of URL is that we can withhold this from you and hit you with it later. Yeah. So it's like everybody's like, okay, good, yeah, that's what we wanted. But I don't know what happened when Diz versus Real Sikh was announced. What did you think, Aker?
Well, I mean, do you think the rest of the card is underwhelming for a Summer Madness card, or do you think maybe that was intentional, like to have like a pretty run-of-the-mill standard card? Doesn't really feel like Summer Madness, and it was all part of the plan to drop Real Sikh versus Diz as a you thought we were done but we're not kind of deal. This is Summer Madness. It's still Summer Madness, and this is how we're proving it.
Well, Diz was saying on Twitter that he was supposed to battle Charlie Clips, so that this has been in the works for a while, and that makes sense. But also, and on a sort of like in a wider sense, you can't be throwing Summer Madness every summer. Like that's incredibly difficult to be throwing like a crazy, huge Summer Madness card every year and have those expectations met every time. So yeah, you put some battles on there that, maybe could be amazing. Maybe they're not Summer Madness, but you got to have some battles, and then you come over the top with Rum Nitty and Dizaster and Real Sikh, and it's like, okay, you've got people buying in, and you've got these other matches to fill out the rest of the card. Seems like a good strategy.
Yeah, that's what I think. The old bait and switch, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it kind of feels like, because it's they've got the names that they need to make this card like like you're saying, you can't do Summer Madness every single year and have it always be just like the perfect battles. Eventually you're going to run out of battlers, you're going to run out of battles as well. But Real Sikh versus Diz, that's like a classic in the making. For me, I'm a big fan of old school Diz, and I'm hoping that he does come with that old school style. And I've seen Real Sikh in quite a few battles where it just felt like he's leveling up every time he's on stage, every bar, everything. You're just waiting to see what he does next, and this seems to be like the next logical step is just put him on a Summer Madness card against one of the biggest names in Battlerap.
For real.
And it's not just Dizaster that's making this card or making this battle what it is. Like his name next to it seemed to have just as equal in terms of weight to kind of put Summer Madness as, oh, maybe they are back on form, maybe they can do it. Maybe that's what they should be doing going forward, is finding these absolute perfect battles and just limiting them throughout the year rather than having one big Summer Madness where you group them together, because then you're like, you just sometimes just get overwhelmed. Sometimes it's just too much. You've got like one card with like 10 of the best battles you're ever going to watch. Yeah, but splitting it up isn't a bad idea, especially if you're going to do a Summer Madness card every summer. You're going to have to save some of these battles.
Let me interject here and say that URL didn't only shoot themselves in the foot once doing Summer Madness, but they shoot themselves in the foot twice a year by also having Gnome, because Gnome also has very high expectations. It's called the Night of Main Events for a reason. If every single battle on that card couldn't be a main event on another card, it doesn't even fit the name anymore.
Right.
So now you've got 2 events every year where you're expected to have absolute knockout matches.
Right.
And so you've got a lot to catch up to, and a lot to that's why I think them developing talent, it doesn't seem like the talent development is there right now, but for a couple months there at the beginning of the summer, it felt like that new class that was coming in, Klutz, Foots, all those guys were getting pushed super heavy because they need that influx of new battlers to be able to create these kinds of matches.
Right, because honestly, just gonna blow your mind right now. Get ready for this. This feels like a King of the Dot match.
Dizaster and Real Sick?
Yeah. This feels very much like this would be on King of the Dot, and URL is maybe stepping outside of what URL normally does, or the feeling of URL, to like, we're gonna be open to really fucking whatever is gonna get eyes on us, whatever is gonna be. I mean, obviously, Real Sick has been on URL and stuff like that. But Dizaster, it's different. It's surprising to see him on URL. He has been on URL before, but it still feels like there was a separation between GTX and KOTD and URL, and like I could see this match easily on GTX. I could see it on KOTD, and if URL is more open to any kind of fucking match that fans want to see, then yeah, it does give them a lot more room to run events for the rest of the year and stack cards.
And that may also bode well for King of the Dot, because then you might see battles that you would expect to see maybe on URL on King of the Dot. It might go both ways, right? We don't really necessarily know the degree that the relationship was repaired between Smack and Ganek at Stay Forever. I mean, things might be
still competition.
There's still competition, obviously, but it might not be as competitive as in the past, where it's like, no, that can't happen there. We're not letting you go over there. We're not letting you do these things. It's a little bit more.
In that vein, you're talking about like Tay-Rock and Rum Nitty is a good example, because they are outside for whatever league.
Yes.
And that's really dope to see.
Real Sick and Twerk and Holmesy are all going to be on the plug in England.
Great example.
Tay-Rock, Geechee, and Nitty are all going to be on iBattle on Go to 9.
Right. So
you're seeing a fluidity between these battlers and leagues, which it hasn't been seen for a period of time.
Yes, definitely. Previously, it would have felt a lot more locked up, a lot more like, hey, we've invested, I have no idea, but lots and lots of money into these entities. And, are they going to have the freedom to travel to different platforms? Is there going to be issues? I hope it opens everything up, because definitely there's a lot of drama right now, but when the dust settles, you want to imagine that everybody here is on the same page of putting Battlerap first and getting these big matches to the fans. Yo, what's up, Dusky? We missed a week. That's fair, man.
I was battling, bro. Like, what do you want me to do? I was on a plane.
Yeah, he was on a plane. Do better. They have Wi-Fi on planes. Come on. And Acre was totally ready to go, but I was not last week. We were going to do this episode last week, but I fucked up. So that's on me.
Yeah, you give me like a few hours in advance. I was like, yeah, so are we going to run through what the show's going to be about? And you're like, yeah, I haven't done anything for this show, so we'll just leave it this week. That was great.
Yeah. But boy, we did so much research for today. Now we're prepared. Between us all, I'm sure. But yeah, back to what you were saying. It's great to see Tay-Rock he just battled Real Deal.
On his own league, which is
very cool. And Rum Nitty, versus CJA. It's announced for iBattle. This go to 9 card out to the arena. Man, that's cool. What a cool. There's just the three huge battles to headline is
Geechee Gotti versus Appa.
Geechee versus Appa. Amazing.
Which is amazing. And then Tay-Rock and Fibo. And then Nitty and CJA. And then we've also got a number 1 contender match between JR and Sean Gata. Sean Gata, I'm going to put this out there too, is one of the most unique battlers that I've seen perform live. And he's just super cool. He's a great dude also. I really think that him versus B Magic would be amazing in the future. That's one of those. Okay. I'm going to put that out into the universe and hope that it ends up happening, because there's just something about that that's the vibes I get when I watch him perform. I'm like, wow, this is dope.
Sick.
And then and then we've got really Kang and Death the Kid, which how can you go wrong with that? And then Roheezy and Mike. Shout out to Roheezy. He was there this last weekend in my corner when I was
no way. He came out to
yeah, on the King of the Dot Beast Mode event.
Beautiful.
And he's just Roheezy's a great guy, and he's one of the best new talents in Canada, especially not just in battling, also in music. His new tape out, Tolly Tapes, I think it's called. It's out now.
Go check that Roheezy and his music and his battles, all of his battles. Really dope stuff. And Mike, who is a Reddit, part of the Reddit team Reddit, and a great battler too. I think Mike's really fun and interesting to watch. So like really great card for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing about iBattle too is that you can't help but love it. Like you just want to cheer for it. Like really, Appa fucking has battles Rum Nitty and they go off. It's amazing, right? It's not a one-off. It's like, okay, now you battle the best in the world. Now battle the other best in the world.
Yeah.
In Geechee, and we're gonna get something great from that too. And it's like they're just battlers and a platform that is really hard to dislike because they're just so community oriented, building with guys who care and put the effort in and put the time in, guys who are legitimately talented. There's no cutting the line on iBattle. It's only cutting the mustard.
And I want to put this out there too, because I saw this tweet literally just before we hopped on, but Lex had put up there that this sort of resurgence that they've had as of recently, a lot of it goes out to SoulCon, because SoulCon versus A-Ward happening on iBattle earlier, I think at the very beginning of the year, it was on New Year's Eve. He didn't want payment. SoulCon did it for free, just, and that payment that they saved directly went into getting to afford Geechee for the 1-rounder against Fibo. And it sort of becomes this momentum thing where, well, when that happens, you have so many people that, buy the battle on the app or subscribe to the iBattle app, that now that money can go into the next thing. You get Rum Nitty and Appa, and then that ends up just keep snowballing forward. And then you get Go to 9. You've got a card, that some people could say rivals the professional leagues.
Yeah, we're beyond that now. We're beyond iBattle being relegated in any way. The thing about being a promoter is it's like there's an art to it as well. You have to have experience in making these decisions, and they are doing such a good job at curating the community and the culture so that it's strong, so that they have this base to launch their talent from. And it's just like, it's beautiful to watch because not everybody can do it. It's a very difficult art form to have a handle on, to master, because normally organizational stuff, promotional stuff, it comes from people who go to school for it, people who are in the business of event planning. And most of the people in Battlerap who are doing that are in the business of fucking rapping. We're not those guys. The Venn diagram of people who went to school, people who battle rap, it's getting larger, but You know, it wasn't always like that. You're not getting people, you know, coming out of university, I'm going to start a battle rap league. So like the fact that Lex is doing so well is really a testament to his understanding of the nuances and the community dynamics that are so important to managing a bunch of young men fighting for status in the arena. And that's what we got. God's the arena. 9. That's many.
I was
Nice.
going to say, in regards to the battles that have happened, I think if Geechee Gotti's had like a good experience on these small leagues, these kind of smaller rooms, that word of mouth goes a long way as well. I mean, you're not going to get Rum Nitty and Tay-Rock and Geechee on the same card without Geechee at least saying, I had a fucking great time at this event. So I think people being on a big stage for long enough kind of forget the atmosphere of like a really small room sometimes. I think some people actually prefer that as well. That just battling in front of like 10 guys sometimes is probably more to your speed. You may actually
10
find
guys
that
who
probably,
care.
yeah,
10
that's
guys
what I
who
mean.
really-
Is it's 10 people who just love battle rap to the point where it's just like I want to do this again, you know. And you'll probably find that their fee, they're not even asking for that much. They're coming back just because, you know, the experience was just great. They had like a great time. It didn't feel like a battle rap event where they were the talent and they were kept backstage away from everybody else. It just felt like bros hanging out. I think that's kind of what these battles kind of have for them. So like again, having Tay-Rock and Rum Nitty want to come and do an event as well just kind of speaks volumes to that kind of atmosphere and the kind of talent it can bring off. Because I doubt they're looking at the paycheck and going, well, URL isn't going to match this, I might as well come over to an iBattle event. I think it's more just the fact that you get people in a room with people who love battle rap, and I mean like really love it. You know, they'll cheer for anything. You kind of want to be in that atmosphere like all the time. So you've got your big stage that pays the bills, and you've got your small stage that just, you know, pays the ego a little bit. So, you know, why not?
Facts. Good vibes. Good vibes.
Mhm.
Definitely keep people coming back. And the mid to top tier battlers see the top tier battlers over there, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I want to be on fucking iBattle. And you get all this interest and you get all this momentum and people who are willing to sacrifice to be on the platform. Helps you build. It's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff. We're done here, America. America, you're doing fine. You know, you've always been doing fine. America's going strong. So we are going to travel the Atlantic Ocean to the jolly old Scotland. I believe that's what they call it. And, you know, and the Scotch, we love them. They're the best. But especially great to see the resurgence we're seeing now with iron bars and all these drops, you know, quality footage, quality drops, quality talent, and hosted by Respect BA. Man, so good to see his face in all of those videos. Aker, you were there.
Yeah, no, and in a sense, just having Respect there kind of like signs it off as being a legitimate battle rap event, you know, kind of legitimizes it a little bit. The fact that Respect is willing to turn up and host like every single battle is, you know, again, a testament to how strong kind of Scottish battle raps trying to make a run right now. I've made some comments on like the talent and the you know, the ability of some battlers, but the events always go off well. People are always like enjoying themselves and whatnot. I have my own opinions when it comes to what people focus on when it comes to battle rap. It's not, you know, it's not always taken well. But it comes from like a place of love more than anything. But you know, it has to be said that there is a gap between the best in Scotland
Between
and
you
the
and
next best.
the rest.
Well, it's not even me. Like, I mean, I don't really put myself in a category outside
I do.
other battlers. I mean, I have my own flaws. You know, I'm not great at absolutely everything, but there is things that I focus on that work better for like a universal audience. I can take my shtick and go to England and it'll be fine. I'll battle in Canada and it'll be fine. I might not be the best. I might not be the highest quality battler, but I will always kind of work in such a way that anybody can get it. I feel like Scotland has kind of kept itself to itself and it doesn't translate universally. You can't take that sort of performance that you've got that only works for Scotland and hope that it's going to be fine working in a battle in England, even Ireland or even abroad. It's kind of difficult to make that sound better than what it was on the day. And a lot of the times, a lot of these battlers, they're very well aware of what they can and can't do, but they don't strive to like try and make inroads with these other battlers. Like we've got Cannell coming up from England. He's coming up quite a lot to do battles here, and he has fun and a laugh and whatnot. But it's very rare that you see Cannell sort of out of his depth up here. But you want to give him battles where he's out of his depth, where he's like literally, fighting against not just like the audience, but like against a battler who really put the effort in and made him feel like the worst one on the night. And I feel like it's kind of getting annoying in some cases where it's like, I want to battle in Scotland a lot more. Like I feel like the scene definitely has got all the people there, and it's definitely got the talent there. It's not like the people aren't talented. It's just they're focusing on the wrong things, and they think that that's enough.
It's
that
definitely,
kind of annoys me.
If I could say, it's definitely early stages too. Like this is sort of what you expect in the growing pains of any scene and of every scene. Like this is sort of universal. When you talk to Respect BA, what's the vibe you get from him on his interest level in Scotland? Because he is making his return on Don't Flop later this year. Very exciting, the institution card. So when you talk to him, do you get a sense that he's like sees potential in the future?
I don't think he dislikes like where Scotland battle rap is, but I don't think he's in the same sort of I can't wait for the next big battle to come about, and it's Scotland versus Scotland, because like as I've said before, there is a massive gap between the best in Scotland and everybody else, and it's not fun when you think of it like that, because you can say the same thing about Ireland or the best of the best there. But there's not like a tremendous gap between them and like the next level, and there's levels to it, but it's like a gradual thing. You can find somebody in the lowest tier and you can like slowly work your way up and like clearly divide lines between them, but say that this guy could work his way to the next tier, and then this guy could work his way to the next tier. But you don't really find that in Scotland, and I think it's just because, like I said, most of the time people aren't battling the way everybody else is battling, or they don't have the same focus when it comes to battle rap and writing battle rap. It's just, it's mostly, and again, this is nothing against them, it's like mostly people who write, music that will come into the battle rap scene, but they want to battle rap like they rap on a stage, or they rap on a beat, which is fine. You can do that, but it has to translate well to like an audience who is expecting battle rap. They're expecting battle rap bars. They're expecting pauses and swagger and charisma from battle rappers, which again people aren't focusing on. But if you get people that do focus on it, they do very well. People will grow out of battling in Scotland and think, what, I can probably battle down in England, take on some of their best. But I would say Respect BA, I don't think he would have a strong opinion about the fact that Scotland battle rap isn't reaching that level. But I think he just enjoys being there, I suppose, more than anything. And his big return, might be against somebody. I'm not even sure who he's meant to be battling, but I don't know if you guys know. Has it been announced? I haven't been
Real Deal.
Attention. Oh, is it Real Deal? All right, okay. Well, I mean, like just that in itself is a testament to his longevity in battle rap, that he can still demand big names like Real Deal. And I'm a big fan of Real Deal. I love Real Deal, but I think Respect BA on his best day could give Real Deal a run for his money. But like the next best after that would be Mackenzie, in my opinion. Sure. I mean, it would be very, very difficult to find somebody, even in the English leagues, who could like go against Mackenzie on his best day and walk away with a clean win. It'd be very, very difficult. And then after that, it's hazy. There doesn't seem to be anybody else who's like stepping up to fill the gap.
Right.
And gets me kind of annoyed, because it's like these guys are definitely there. It's just that they don't want to do that kind of stuff. They don't want to do that kind of battling.
And it takes time. It's sort of been in this, like, I mean, I've been watching the Scottish scene for a long time, and from when you guys were battling outside, there's always sort of been a bunch of guys who could potentially take it to the next level, like you said. And really all it takes is some momentum, a few events in a row, start to get to know the characters, start to build together. And hopefully with Respect BA back and hosting these battles were great. I mean, like I was really impressed. The footage quality and the battling quality. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself much more than I had any right to, because I'm just fucking loving it. But can we get into it?
I will also say Yunnan should have taken the W.
Oh no, that was a 2-1 clear. Everybody in the venue was kind of like, "Oh, what's this judge's decision all about?" I remember being there and just going, "I'm going to have to rewatch this battle. There must have been something I missed."
Let's do it.
The only round, yeah, like the only round I couldn't quite. I could see Jinx taking it was round number 3. I felt like Yunnan. I don't know whether or not he choked and forgot a lot of his material and jumped to the end. He might have very well have done, because the round felt a little bit short and it felt like it was lacking his usual flair towards the end. So that was like the only round I kind of took away from him. But the other 2 rounds were very clear, in my opinion. But again, takes away nothing from Jinx. Jinx put up a fight. Jinx was entertaining. But Yunnan on his best day, I don't think this was his best day, but Yunnan, for a couple of bars here and there, you were like, whoa, this is untouchable right now. And it felt like when the judge's decision was read out, I was like, oh, that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. Even me, who's like, I usually make the wrong decisions when it comes to battle rap. That's why I don't judge anymore. It's a bad idea to get me to judge. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Until after I've rewatched it. I need to rewatch it like 3 or 4 times before I can say conclusively who's won. In this case, I would say Jinx put up a good fight. He was very entertaining. But Yunnan is built different. That's the phrase I use. Yunnan is built different, and he was on form in this battle, and he really should have taken it. I think I took a note of some of the things that was coming out of his. What was he saying? He said a surgical team is the only way you'll get closure. Like
such a simple battle, but not. Is that ringing coming from me? Let's see.
Yes.
My bad. For some reason, somebody's phoning me. No idea why. But so he said, like, surgical team is the closure. Again, it's one of those bars where you're like, it's so simple. Why has nobody said this before? But it's one of those where you're like, you know what? That wasn't even, that's not even the punch. He's got more coming. That's one of the things that I think separates Yunnan from a lot of like the battlers he'll go up against, is that a lot of his setups are punches in themselves. They could have just been a whole separate punch. He had another one which was Mr. Jinx is up here looking like the missing link. I like that as well. Again, just Yunnan can be funny, and when he is funny, he's really funny. I think that was one of his better sort of joke bars. He had another one. What was it? It was Aztecs are drawing on your temple like Mayan art, and that was again just a setup for another punch. So like Aztec, again, great stuff from Yunnan. I think, if they had got the judge that they were supposed to get on the day, which was ScoMo, so shout out ScoMo. ScoMo was there. He turned down judging for that because he wanted to. He just wanted to enjoy the battle. So,
Especially if you're like drinking and stuff, and you're having a good night, and you're kind of like, whoa, and somebody asks you to judge a battle, you're like, oh, I don't really want to pay attention, right? Like I want to. Path, what did you think about this battle?
Yunnan and Jinx?
Yeah.
I thought that Yunnan took it clearly. I thought that he might have front-loaded his material a little bit. That might be why the third round seemed slightly short or not exactly at the same quality as the other two. I think that he would have front-loaded his material into the first 2 rounds, because you only need to win 2 rounds to win a battle. And because Yunnan, at the time of that, was supposed to battle Bobby Rex, I'm pretty sure, the next week before it did end up getting pushed back. And then he also was battling on GTX. So he's had a very busy summer. And so I think that the strategy, I mean, I'm just guessing, but I would say the strategy might have been, let's front load all the best stuff into the first 2 rounds and, just get over in the third.
His third was almost a real talk let's just break down, addiction and all this stuff that he's been going through. It was sort of like what do you call that, catharsis, and it wasn't super bar heavy. And in the end, he's like, he's giving respect to him. Like his closing line was like, somebody's going through addiction, that they come out the other side. You have to respect it. And that's not like a third round closer. That's sort of like, that's a good point. And I emotionally, I'm there with you, but it's not like then he fucking took his head off in the third. It's more like okay.
Sometimes you sacrifice the third round, right?
Yeah, I felt like that's what was coming though. I thought when I was there for the battle, and I just thought, all right, he's going to do that, and then we're going to see like another 6 to 8 bars where he just comes back and just destroys him and says, "It's good that you got clean, but now you're gonna, I'm going to do him dirty." I don't know. He was just going to hit him with some shit. Yeah, just fucking come at him with some other stuff. I mean, I'm trying to think like from a lot of sort of past battles that I've watched where somebody does do that sort of angle where they kind of break down their like personal struggles, they give props and whatnot. They don't usually use that as a closer unless they have just been spending the entire round just being as vicious as possible. And then it's usually only like maybe 2 to 4 bars. They'll just give them props.
Right.
And then they'll put like a little bit at the very end where it's just like, it's not really props. It's like an insult somehow.
Exactly.
But they'll word it a bit better. But that's why I feel like Yunnan maybe did have something a lot better for the way to end that. And then he just kind of forgot it. And then they just closed it off. There's a point in that round where if you do watch him closely, he just kind of looks blank for a second and then just starts rhyming, and it just feels like he came in at the wrong time. And I think he just went with it, because at that point even I was thinking, it's fine, he's already won the battle. How wrong I was. But I genuinely do still feel he took the battle very, very cleanly. I'm not going to call it a body or anything. Again, Jinx did a great job. Really entertaining, but this was a very clear Yunnan win for me, and I hope he keeps that kind of hunger for any battle that he goes into, because people thought Yunnan was going to come up to Scotland and he just wasn't going to give a shit. He was just going to do
as you imagine most of the guys who come up to Scotland, it's like, oh, do they care? And it did feel like he cared, but also best Jinx I've ever seen. I was legitimately laughing. I love the shit he said.
Jinx is, so he had like, what was it? He had like a bar early on. It was a name flip. He goes, I'll make him eat the hilt made in China. Now he's Wuhanimous. He was just doing this unanimous multis the entire first round almost.
Yeah, that was dope. I really like that.
At one point, it just stopped being good, and then he just kept doing it, and it just became good again. And I think that was like targeted as well. It's like when the joke gets too old, and then it just becomes vintage, and it becomes a classic. He pushed it right to the end. I'm trying to think. He had he had a good few short jokes as well for him. I think those were
that was a good angle.
It was like you high five your high fi, and you slammed out your bus fare, which was great.
Bus fare. Yo.
I don't know if it was his first round closer where he said, "I'll be up at your funeral, playing the bagpipes, I scoop up your ashes and smoke it in a crack pipe." Again, it's just like those like lines like that. Again, just solidified Jinx as being like one of the more entertaining guys up here. And a lot of the stuff I said before doesn't really apply to Jinx, because Jinx is old school. Jinx has an old school style that always works no matter what. So if anybody comes with that same style, right? If anybody comes with that, they're just a Jinx clone, and you don't want to be a Jinx clone. Jinx is the only one that can do it. You can have clones of other people, but it's never going to work for them. The way Jinx does what he does works for him. Nobody can do that. That's why he stands out. He's exempt from all my previous comments about the Scottish battle scene.
Your previous comments, garbage. Let's get out of here. Get you out of here.
One last one I remember, because I really like this one. It goes, you looked up to your mum. To you, she was Wonder Woman, but really you were just a heroine baby. No, that was a Yunnan bar actually. That was the one. He's like, you look up to your mum, and to you she was Wonder Woman, but really you were just a heroine baby. Right. Again. And I don't know what it is about that bar. It's just, again, it's one of those like heroin. It's been done plenty of times. It's just the way Yunnan does it sometimes is just fun. It's
It was great.
Really,
it's a great fun battle. Definitely,
right.
People got to check it out.
Yeah.
Iron Bars, they got a bunch of battles. We want to try and get through this because we've got other places
Path
to
is
go.
back.
But
sorry, I got a phone call.
Canel versus Melody. Melody was entertaining battle as well. Melody is also very well established in Scotland, and Canel, he comes up and he's just fun. It just seems like he's just having a good time. He's not one of those I'm gonna fucking kill you and remove your soul type of battlers. He's like, I'm gonna say some funny shit.
Although in the horrorcore battle against Gasbuff, he was very, I'm gonna kill you and take your soul.
Specifically. Go check that out if you haven't seen it.
It showcases his versatility. He's willing to do pretty much a fair share of topics when it comes to battling.
Sure.
Again, another battle I think fun from the get go. And another thing about the vibe of Iron Bars is these kind of battles where it doesn't really matter who Canel is battling. He's always going to put on a show. And again, that's one of those worries that you have with Scottish battlers or people battling on Scottish events is, are they going to give a shit? And in this case, Canel gives as much of a shit for this as he does for any other battle, which is to say probably not much, but at least he keeps the same energy. So again, good battle, good effort from both sides. Melody did the same kind of thing as Yunnan did towards the end, where he just kind of did a sign off, kind of said, if you can take a break from battling and whatnot, didn't really attack his opponent, kind of just signed off, which is nice in its own way. But again, unless you're doing something very clever with it, it's probably not going to win you battles. But other than that,
competitive strategy.
Yeah, you had great bars. You had I'm a fiber engineer, so every day is light work, which again just came sort of like left field, came out of nowhere. I love that bar. That's great. And he told Canel he's so high, it looks like he's trying to be insensitive to Asian people, because he's doped out his brain. Again, I love these little moments where it's these guys can do everything that everybody else is doing. It's just they're focusing on the wrong things. But Melody, Canel, good battle, good fun. If you want to have a laugh about, Canel saying that, Melody's elbows have camel toe, then this is the battle for you. This is definitely one of those. That's a fucking great one.
The one I just watched was that just dropped actually today was Crohn's versus Jails, and I loved it. Oh my god! I think I'd seen a Crohn's battle before, but this was back and forth. Both of these guys were fucking great. Yeah,
there's a lot of love between these two guys, and it's probably a lot of hate as well. But I think that's what makes this battle work so well, is that they actually are very, very familiar with each other.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the time when you watch some of these battles, it's very unclear as to what their knowledge is going in the battle. I'm guessing Jinx and Yunnan don't hang around all that much or have much to do when it comes to battle. But because Jails, Crohn's, it's Scotland versus Scotland. These guys are quite familiar with each other. And
when he says he's the whole thing of your dad's a beast. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, pedophile. It's the kind of it's a phrase that we use. Beast just means that you are a wrong. Beast is the best way to put it. Is rapist, child molester kind of deal. I've not looked into it. I don't know where the truth in that is. It probably is something that's just been spun out of control. It's probably something very, very innocent that's been made to be a lot worse than it actually is. Maybe a phrase or yeah, I mean, but to be honest, it could very well be true as hell. It could have been, his dad was 25 chasing after a 15-year-old when he was younger or something like that. And it's just the way things were back then, but it's really just not the done thing. And it isn't something that he should be bragging about or whatever. Or it could be something a bit more sinister. It could literally be a case of he's stealing kids from playgrounds. But again, haven't looked into it. Either way, angle was fun. Again, he went with it quite far. Again, it's one of those where it's the guy was given the perfect angle, And there's so much he could have done with it, and he just didn't do that with it. Even though I know he's very capable of doing it with it, I think Jails could have really fleshed that out and turned it into something way, way more than it was. But either way, love the battle, love Jails.
Yeah, and it was fun. Damn, I you know, from an outside perspective, obviously calling somebody a beast and it meaning not a beast. Like means
I don't know if I don't know if North America has their own terminology for somebody that would be considered a. You know, like if you've got your own, like, you know, colloquial.
Sure.
But we have a few. We have an assortment of phrases we can use for different types of people.
It's like nonce, right? Like that's a word.
Yeah, nonce is another one. And nonce is mostly English, though. I think if we're going to use nonce, we'll probably use it in the same fashion that they do. But it's mostly English. We use beast. We use wrongin. That's again, England can use that as well. They use it like you're a wrongin. You're a wrong one. But I don't know if North America has them. But yeah, so when he screams in his face, "Your dad's a beast," he's basically saying your dad's up.
Like, what is this, a compliment battle all of a sudden?
No. If it comes from someone outside of Scotland, then yeah, you're complimenting. But in Scotland, that is so, directly your dad's a.
Shouts out to these guys. Most likely they'll be back, hey?
Oh yeah, definitely. Jails is back. Jails hasn't been battling for a while, and you see them saying it in the battle when he was at the last event. There was something that just kind of got him going. Like, I just want to get back into battling. You know, I just want to do it again. You know, so I'm pretty sure he's got another battle coming up. I think it was just posted. I think he's going to be battling. I don't know when it is, but I think it's like in a month or so. He'll be battling Zebedee. Again, another old, you know, been in this for quite a while. Few battles here and there, so hopefully I think this is meant to be a one round battle, but I'm not sure. It may be 3 rounds. It might just be because Jails is probably also organising the event. He might not have time to do 3 rounds, but either way, it's a battle. So he's definitely come back. Don't know about Crohn's. I think he might have been announced on the same card, but
but it feels like, you know, a strong roster. You know, like it feels like previous Scottish events. It's like headliner, co-main, and a bunch of tryouts. And this one, it's like, oh, you got a number of good, quality, fun, enjoyable battles out of it. Except for obviously the only exception being with a guy named 6'3" versus Acre, which I thought was just hard to watch.
You can get fucked is what you can get. You know? Fucking sit there talking about fucking. So yeah, me versus 6'3". I'll be honest. Watching the battle back, well, on the day when I was in the battle, I felt like I was invincible. I felt like I was untouchable. As soon as I started getting going, I felt like, whoa, I am absolutely performance of the night, all that sort of jazz. When I watch it back, I feel like I've just got like no energy. Like everything I'm saying just feels like it's just coming from a lazy place. Maybe I am my harshest critic, but I did not walk away from the screen after watching my battle thinking, yeah, I'm back.
You know what it is too? Because I watched this back because I don't know. I've seen some Acre battles before, and you know, I happen to have watched some. Is that
you happen to have been in them as well?
I was in at least one. Your command of your comedy is like, it's really great, and I think that that's like a strength of yours that a lot of battlers don't have, especially when in the new era where it's all about punching. Like, you can really roast, and I thought that you did maybe more roasting than barring out in this one. Like, maybe you were a lot more casual, a lot more like, you know, taking your time. And yeah, the energy wasn't there as much as when you were fucking taking my head off, because for me, for some reason, you just fucking barred out and you just saved up all your bars, which is really annoying. But people love that. Like, when Acres gets on a fucking roll and starts punching, that's a really dangerous Acre. So that's what I interpreted from this one. But that's not to say that the jokes weren't funny. I thought the whole angle on him being 6'3" was hilarious. I thought it killed.
It's a funny story about that, because like outside after the event, we were having a talk about the battle and what we thought, and you know, I was trying to, you know, give him what I thought he was doing well and whatnot, just kind of like a bit of critique. And afterwards, he just kind of turned to me and he just goes, so just let me know, Acre. Like, you know, who told you I wasn't 6'3"? And I'm like, I'm like, buddy, I'm I'm taller than you. Like
the physical laws
why do you
of
think
nature.
why do you think why do you think people were reacting to the bars? Like they wouldn't react if I was telling them I'm 6'2" and I'm clearly shorter than you, or even the same height as you. It wouldn't make any difference. And then he was like, no, you're not. I'm taller than you. And I'm like, oh, all right. And eventually he like commanded somebody to like take a picture of us standing like side by side. And in the picture, I'm like clearly about half an inch to an inch taller than him. And he's just like, no, he goes, no, then you just only 6'2" then. You just must be like way taller than that.
That's really funny.
No, but like the 6'6" was a laugh. He's a great guy. But like the whole 6'3" angle and my approach to this battle was I kind of wanted to take a step back from just doing bars all the time. And the reason being is that I can bar every single line, but it's, it doesn't really do much for me if like, people aren't catching some of them, or I'm writing for a crowd that, has already just been watching about 10 battles all night. They don't have energy to react to every single battle like a or oh, that's fire, so I just I took a step back from that and just thought, what will work is if I just just go down the comedy side of things a bit more, because people can laugh for days. It's very difficult to like constantly scream and cheer, and the people can laugh for days, and I did sprinkle some bars in there because I'm like, well, I can't abandon that entirely. That's my shtick, it is wordplay, it is every single bar, but I wanted it to be mostly a comedic thing, just because that's Scottish events for you. The Scottish crowd really do react more to jokes than they do to really hard bars. And I just kind of wanted to kind of feel the sort of Scottish crowd a bit on my side. So I will say it was a bit of a cheap approach, but I kind of just wanted to have less focus on me just writing to like intricate bars and like wordplay and just actually just get people to just kind of laugh along and not have to think too much. I mean, at this point in the night, people are drunk, they don't want to hear like how many different versions of a bar I can come up with and how many different meanings this one bar had. They kind of just want to have a good time. So but yeah, that muscle is in there, but it's not the focal point of this battle. So if you want something a bit more laid back, then this is one of the battles I can point to and say it's one of my more laid back battles compared to the other ones, which are like very bar heavy. So I kind of enjoyed. And 6'3", again, 6'3" is very talented. He can rap.
He did well.
Really rap. Well. Yeah.
He had some bars again, too. He was rapping.
The lack of sort of crowd response to some of the things he was saying was probably kind of throwing him off. I don't know whether that sort of lended itself to his stumbles and his chokes a little bit. But again, it's one of those where if you're writing for the purpose of getting a crowd reaction and you don't get that crowd reaction, it can throw you off. I made that mistake when I started out. It would throw me off. I was like, well, I genuinely thought that was one of my better punchlines, and just nothing. It kind of is less about the crowd. It's more about me. It's like, how did I miss the mark so much that I can get a bar and people reacting to it? But now it's more a case of I'm writing, and whether they react or not, I'm continuing the narrative. I'm gonna keep going until I do get a reaction, and I do eventually get one, and it's like, well, that all paid off, so I feel good about myself. I can keep going. But 6'3" was great. I've enjoyed some of his stuff as well. I was actually standing there trying to keep a brave face on. I was like hoping that he wasn't going to come out with something a bit more serious, but again, he's got what it takes to go forward, because one thing he does that a lot of guys in the Scottish scene don't do is he watches battle rap. He really watches battle rap. He'll watch King of the Dot. He'll watch URL. He'll watch all of that, and he'll reference some of that in his battles. It's just maybe it's now time for him to start taking some lessons from some of the battles he watches, and realizes that rapping alone is probably not going to win him any more battles. He needs to do more than epitomize his rap. He needs to become something else. He needs to be reborn. And the loss to me wasn't even a bad one. Like in about a couple of months, you'll have a battle where he just absolutely goes way beyond even what I was spitting. And I'm happy for him. I'm hoping that he does that. I'm hoping that he just looks at that as just being a roadblock, a speed bump, nothing really, and he comes back with even more,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Iron Bars does next, rolling out their events after this, because it feels like just absolutely wildly successful event. We titled this episode Dizaster versus Real Sikh, Tony D versus Moak, and Ireland Implodes. So we got about 5 minutes to cover the rest.
All right, let's cover Tony D and Moak really, really quick. Ready?
Okay. It's fucking great.
Tony D was fucking amazing as usual. In fact, it's probably one of the better Tony D performances that I've seen as of late.
I love the way that he controls. He has such an intimate understanding of what the audience is going to react to and what he's going to have success with, that he builds just expertly. It's wonderful to watch.
And the biggest piece of yes, good job. Tony said the go at bar that we've all said and everyone has said a million times, and Mook said it against Averb however long ago, and everyone's like, that's shitty. But tied it into Moak and Moak, which is like one of the biggest things, and it's part of Moak's slogan, and I thought that was so fucking well done. And it was just, chef's kiss. Yeah. Tony D is one of the best of all.
I think Moak is time and time again just proven he belongs up there on that stage, though. I do feel like Tony D took it very, very cleanly, but I think Moak was giving as good as he got at some points. In some parts of the battle, it just felt like, oh, it could be swinging his way, actually, you know. I think Moak, he needs to keep getting big names because he always puts on a show, and that he's new at the scene. I think he's the best we've ever seen come out the new crop, like the guys, Graza and Georgie Roots and like Tech. I think Moak is heads and shoulders above all of them out of this new crop. He is, and absolutely
he's paying his dues. He went to the US. He's grinding. He's getting the looks. He's showing up. So this is a part of his journey, and definitely I agree with what you guys both said. Just check it out if you haven't. Lots of great stuff happening in the UK. Lots of great announcements. The plug 2 or the plug. What's the plug are you on?
Plug 4, the pre-party.
The pre-party. Great card. Was a bunch of new matches were announced. Maybe one rounders, maybe not. I don't know, but just really fun stuff. Shouts out to Trubs. Path is 5-5.
At the Beast Mode event this weekend, final word, the first thing he says when he comes up to me was, "You're a lot taller in person than I thought." I don't know why. I thought you'd be shorter.
He's hoping. Short battlers you can bark on. I remember when Aker showed up and he was 6'2". I was like, what the fuck? My short rounds. So great stuff happening there. And then obviously the biggest news is that Ireland had its championship, his first ever PB Premier Battles Irish battle between Viz and Raptor, and in which Viz was the winner, and there was some fallout over.
From what I understand, it was a 3-2 judges decision. I think both the battlers agreed to who the judges were before the battle went ahead. So, and I think the only person, if a robbery was felt to be had, then I think the only person that can really be angry about it is Raptor himself. A lot of people have had like an overreaction to this, to the point where Visual has now stepped down, working for Premier Battles entirely as a fallout of this. But apparently what had happened was, after the battle was announced, like, nobody applauded, nobody cheered, nobody said anything. And apparently they all just left the venue, even though the title match didn't happen at the end of the night. It was halfway through the night. So like the next battles that came up, that's what made it. Yeah, so like not a very good look. And don't get me wrong, people can be kind of taken aback by the result, but you've got places where you can air that concern. You don't do it to the battlers. It's not the battlers' fault. You're kind of punishing them by walking out the venue. You've already paid for your tickets.
My thoughts on this is, this is the part of the whole situation that I think is kind of, I don't want to use the wrong word, but I was disgusted hearing it, is that this shifts away from the idea of, we all wanted to see this person win and they didn't win, and so we left in support of that, and became, we only want this person to win because he's actually Irish, and we don't think that Viz is Irish enough to win this. And because Viz, he did win it, he's not Irish enough to hold that, so we're all out of here. And that part I don't care for, right? There's obviously a lot behind the scenes when it comes to English and Irish relationships. But just because Viz works with Prem, which is English, and because Viz works in England quite a bit, and there's all of that stuff, to look at it and say you're not Irish enough to win that belt or hold that belt, that's the kind of shit that goes outside of Battlerap. That doesn't work.
You have to like, and just taking into consideration what you're saying as well is like that's the powder keg of the Irish battle rap scene. That's those tensions, all that stuff is also there. And Raptor used that in his rounds and played on it. And that's a fucking good angle too. Like if you're a battler, you're trying to win a battle and you know who your audience is, and you know who your opponent is, you'd be stupid not to take that angle. My heart breaks for the Irish scene that has been going through so much tumult and change in leadership over the last few years. They have so many good battlers there. I'm just dying for them to have a strong home league that they can, or just a platform that they can regularly perform at. Because I don't know who's going to take over from Viz now, if he's stepping down, if they're going to throw events, or if the Irish battlers are just going to have to travel to the UK to battle. But either way, it's where our hearts go out to everybody over there, and we hope that they can find some way to patch this up. Because I mean, I was really hyped to see Johnny Darko. I know his opponent wasn't able to make it. And, you know, ScoMo's got so much energy and momentum behind him, and he lost to Guame in the
another split decision, another close one.
Yeah.
which is great that Guame is like going strong, so strong for all these years. Like there's really great talent in Ireland, and yeah, it would just be an enormous shame to have all that work that Viz did go to waste because there's nobody able to step up and throw events. So
I did see Briggsy post something on the Irish Battle Facebook group and say that this is not the end. This is just the temporary fix for now, is that there's going to be nothing planned for now. We're going to look to find the right person to go in here. He said, you know, Viz is stepping down, but that doesn't mean that it's just dissolving completely, etc. So ultimately, I think that what it boils down to is that Raptor and Viz, they're friends. They talk, like they've cleared their own issues up, and now it's mostly just the people that were there that were upset with it.
Yeah, everybody's cool. Obviously, everybody's drunk and emotional. Those people probably regret their behavior, their actions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, it's a theme. I don't want to say like I predicted it, but also when we were talking about this, it looked like very much a very dangerous situation. Like there's a whole lot of storylines there. There's a whole lot of competing and conflicting interests that if we were saying before, you know, for Viz to be able to lock down the main promoter role in Ireland and be the champion at the same time, like, man, it's battle rap, you know, like if you're a battler, you think that you're the best, and you're in that arena of proving it all the time. And if you're a manager, then you have to manage all those egos, and to do that and be the champion at the same time, it's next to impossible. And I think if anybody could have done it, you know, Viz has shown that he's got the fucking the chutzpah and the drive to do both those things. But sometimes it's just impossible. I've just fucking never seen it done. I don't know. So really hope that they're able to build back and find some way to keep going, because they had a lot of momentum, and we're fucking watching. We're looking forward to all of the talent.
I have faith they'll bounce back. They've got too much talent in that region, and people that are hungry for actual battles. I think what happened as a result or the fallout of this battle is probably going to be remembered for a very long time, especially given the fact that, you know, from what I'm understanding, you have people walking out, you know, a mass walkout of an event while the event is still going on. It isn't a very good look. But I think with changes being made from the upper side of things, I think a lot of people will reflect on that and maybe take a bit more responsibility with what Path was saying. Is like, you can be passionate about battle rap, but when your passion runs to the point where it's like, this guy's not Irish enough to be my champion, it's not fair. You can have passion in such a way that you come on the forums and you can say, I personally believe Raptor won that battle when he was the better battler. Judge's decision needs to be looked at, fine, but don't take it out on the talent. And it felt like this was malicious enough that it kind of felt like they were taking it out on the talent. It just, it doesn't feel fair. I won't look into the underroots of whether or not it was a case of what Path was saying is that you're not Irish enough to hold it, but it's mostly about the actual actions of the people rather than their reasoning behind it, which was you're walking out of an event and it just doesn't feel like it's just not the done thing.
But shouts to all the people, like all the cooler heads that have prevailed. Definitely have seen a lot of people who are everybody's chill still, like all the battlers on the staff. Everybody's like cool. They understand each other, friends, and that's dope. That's important. So let's leave on a high note like that.
And I haven't made a joke post about it yet. So until I do, we'll just assume that everything's hunky dory. But yeah, no. Like I said, they'll bounce back. The region is too talented. There's a vacuum there, and it's going to be filled.
Nice. Pat, you want to say something?
I got a message from Apex saying that, which is clearly false, but he said, I'm the only person watching right now. Give the viewers what they want. And he's implying that I should talk about his battle with me from the last weekend. So I'm just going to say Apex and I had a very great battle last weekend. Well regarded as battle of the night.
All Canada episode next week.
Look at that.
We're going to do a full thing. I don't know if Joey still wants to jump on, but we're going to do we're going to Canada and right the fuck up next Sunday. If you're looking for Battlerap this weekend, there's a little thing called Summer Madness happening. I don't know if you've heard of it. That'll be at in the United States. And Short Circuit is happening in London. It's a Premier Battles event from Trubs. It's what is it? Crow versus Georgie Roots. Bunch of great battles on that card. Go check that out if you're in that area. And roasting season is happening in Canada. It's the roasting season again. Set the Bar in Vancouver. It's a fun, summer development card for Canada. Shouts out to Verse Tracker every time for their events calendar. If you want to see all the battles and all the leagues and all the MCs, check out them. And yeah, that's all for this week. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Click the like and subscribe button everywhere, and let us know what you liked in this episode. Which host you liked the most, which host you thought was the most handsome, in the comments below. And when you click these buttons, it helps us figure out, what to do more of and who we want to see more of in the episodes, so we can make the show better for you. That's all. So yeah,
so we're here doing this every time he's talking about handsomeness, and who do you want to see the most of?
Tell Organic. What's up? And yeah, thanks Acre for jumping in this week, man, all the way from Scotland.
No problem, man. It's been good. Thanks for having me. And peace and love, I suppose, is the best way to sort of end this off.
Peace and love, baby. It.
That's what we do. That's what we say.
Pat, why don't you take us out?